Have you ever felt afraid when nothing made sense? Not afraid like running from a car or hiding from a storm, but something deeper, more irrational, more ancient. You see a hole in a wall and your skin crawls. You look at a balloon and your chest tightens. You hear someone whisper and your entire body prepares to flee. And when you try to explain it, you feel stupid, embarrassed, like a child, because even you don't understand it. But here's the truth. The fear is real, even when the reason isn't. Let's talk about phobias. Not general anxiety, not reasonable caution, but full-body panic triggered by something that shouldn't make you panic. The clown, the duck, the color yellow, the hole, the mirror, the music box, the ceiling fan, the thing that shouldn't terrify you, but does. This isn't random. It's not weakness. It's not a joke. It's the brain screaming, danger, even when there is none. Let's talk about how that happens. Phobias form when the brain links an object or event to a survival threat. Not through logic, but through association. Your body senses fear, then looks for a cause. And sometimes it picks the wrong one. The dog barked. You flinched. Now your brain thinks, dog, danger. Even if the dog was harmless, even if the real fear wasn't about the dog at all, but about what was happening when the bark occurred. Your parents were fighting. You felt unsafe. The dog barked at the same moment. The mind connected the dots, even if they were the wrong dots. Now, every bark reactivates the terror. Even decades later. Let's talk about bizarre phobias. Trypophobia, fear of clusters of small holes. Isoptrophobia, fear of mirrors. Globophobia, fear of balloons. Omphallophobia, fear of belly buttons. Paganophobia, fear of beards. Anatidophobia, the fictional fear that somewhere, somehow, a duck is watching you. These sound ridiculous until they happen to you, until your heart races, until your vision narrows, until you cry in front of people who don't understand, until you feel insane. But you're not. You're just carrying something you never chose. Let's talk about how phobias disguise trauma. Sometimes what you fear is just the symbol. A hole triggers your trypophobia, but it's not about the hole. It's about vulnerability. The fear of being consumed, invaded, pulled into something you can't control. A clown triggers panic, but it's not about the makeup. It's the smiling mask, the fake cheer, the fear of being lied to. A balloon pops, and you shake. Not because it's loud, but because it's sudden, unpredictable, like your father's temper or your mother's silence. Let's talk about sensory memory. Your body remembers. It remembers textures, sounds, shapes. Even if your mind forgets, you might not recall the trauma, but your skin does. Your lungs do. Your nervous system does. So when you see the pattern of holes, or the glint of the mirror, or the rubbery sheen of a balloon, your body responds. Not to the thing itself, but to what it represents. Let's talk about how the brain learns fear. The amygdala doesn't wait for logic. It reacts. If you experience panic, your brain looks for a cause, any cause. And once it finds one, it remembers it forever. It's like a shortcut carved into your brain. And every time the fear is triggered, the shortcut deepens. Even if you know it's irrational, your body doesn't care. That's why reasoning doesn't fix phobias. Because the fear didn't come from reason. Let's pause. Still think your fears are silly? Still think you're crazy? Or are you beginning to see your fear isn't the enemy? It's a message in a language you haven't learned to translate. You don't remember when it started. Or maybe you do, but not clearly, not in order, not like a movie, more like a dream that makes your stomach hurt. All you know is something changed. Now, certain objects make your hands sweat. Certain places close your throat. Certain sounds send you spiraling. And no one gets it. Because you don't get it either. Let's talk about how fear becomes a form. Your brain stores trauma through associations. But it doesn't always assign the fear to the right thing. Sometimes the thing you were afraid of was too big, too complex, too painful. So your mind picks something simpler, easier to carry, easier to name, easier to avoid. The duck, the mirror, the clown, the hole. Now the fear has a face. Now you can control it. Or so you think. Let's talk about projection. Projection happens when the internal becomes external. You were powerless once, so now you fear being watched, controlled, trapped. But instead of confronting the memory, you fear windows, or open doors, or the ceiling fan above your bed that never stops spinning. Because that's easier than admitting, I felt helpless and no one helped me. So your fear takes form, shape, edges. It becomes a thing you can avoid, or at least try to. Let's talk about childhood. Many phobias are born in childhood, and they grow with you. Even if the event was small, even if no one else remembers it. The dark hallway, the buzzing light, the time you were left alone in the car, the birthday balloon that popped next to your ear and made you scream. The adult says, "You're fine." But your body didn't hear that. Your body heard, "This is danger," and your brain encoded it permanently. Let's talk about neglect. People think trauma means violence, but sometimes it's absence. No one came when you cried. No one explained the loud noises. No one helped you regulate your feelings. So your nervous system grew up in chaos, untrained, overreactive, raw. And now the smallest thing can feel like too much. You're not fragile. You're just unprotected. Let's talk about control. Phobias are a paradox. You avoid the trigger to feel in control. But over time, the fear grows. It spreads. It decides where you go, who you see, what you touch, until the thing that made you feel safer starts controlling you. The fear becomes the jailer. And you become smaller, quieter, less alive. Let's talk about embarrassment. Phobias aren't just frightening. They're humiliating. You know the balloon can't hurt you. You know the tiny hole isn't a threat. You know the clown is a person in makeup. But your body doesn't care. So you panic, shake, cry, run. And afterward, you hate yourself. But here's the truth. You don't need to be ashamed of what kept you alive. Your fear may look strange, but it was your mind's best attempt to survive something it couldn't process. Let's talk about the body as witness. Even if your mind forgot, your body didn't. The racing heart, the tight jaw, the twitch in your eye, the flinch when someone moves too fast. That's not dysfunction. That's memory. Not the kind with words. The kind made of nerve endings. Let's talk about phantom terror. You fear the balloon. But maybe you're really afraid of loud sounds, which remind you of shouting, which reminds you of your father, which reminds you of what happened afterward. You fear the cluster of holes. But maybe it reminds you of wounds, or parasites, or something you saw once and repressed forever. You fear the duck, but maybe it's the watching, the surveillance, the feeling of being seen when you wanted to be invisible. Fear isn't random. It's symbolic. It's trying to tell you something. Let's pause. You don't just fear the object. You fear the feeling that lives behind it. And until you turn toward it, it will keep turning toward you. You've spent your life running from something you couldn't name, dodging shapes, avoiding patterns, swallowing panic when others laughed. You called yourself weak, weird, broken. But here's the truth. Your fear was trying to protect you, even when it got it wrong, even when it took control, even when it made your world smaller. Let's talk about what healing really means. Not erasing the fear, not forcing it to go away, not pretending it never existed, but understanding it, listening to what it's trying to say. Because every phobia has a story. Not always clear, not always direct, but always true. Let's talk about curiosity. The opposite of fear isn't courage. It's curiosity. When you ask, where did this come from? What part of me is still scared? What is this fear trying to keep me from feeling? You stop being a victim of the fear, and you become its interpreter. You translate the language your body speaks. The language of tension, of silence, of goosebumps and clenched jaws and shallow breath. Let's talk about exposure. It doesn't mean throwing yourself into panic. It means approaching slowly, with safety, with choice. Not to fight the fear, but to teach the body, we're not there anymore. This is different. You're safe now. Sometimes the balloon pops, and nothing bad happens. Sometimes the mirror reflects, and the face looking back is yours. Sometimes the duck stares, and you laugh, not because the fear is gone, but because you've changed your relationship with it. Let's talk about self-compassion. Your fear isn't pathetic. It's sacred. It's the trace of your survival, the shape your nervous system took to carry something unbearable. You did what you had to do. And now you get to do something new. Let's talk about identity. You are not your phobia, but it's part of your story. A chapter, a symbol, a messenger. When you stop trying to destroy it, you can begin to integrate it. That's when it shrinks, loses power, becomes part of you, but not all of you. Let's talk about freedom. Freedom isn't the absence of fear. It's the presence of choice. It's walking toward the balloon anyway. It's entering the room with the holes on the wall. It's holding the mirror, looking, and staying, even when your hands shake. That's bravery. Not because you're unafraid, but because you move with the fear. Let's end with this. You were never broken. You were brilliant. Your fear made sense, even when it didn't. Your body protected you, even when it overreacted. Your mind built shortcuts to help you survive what no one else saw. And now you see it. Now you know. Behind every irrational fear is a very rational wound. And behind every wound is a part of you that still wants to feel safe. So next time the panic comes, don't run. Don't fight. Listen, it's not the fear that's the enemy. It's the silence surrounding it.